mamas, come and save your child. Baby earth is reeling and willing and needs your tender embrace. Mothers of the universe, Mother Nature's skies, ooh, come save your child. Come save your child. I said come sisters, come and take back your child. It's great.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Thursday. It's raining in my area.
It's raining here too.
It wasn't raining where I was working, and I get home and I see the rain. I'm like, oh Lord, I should have been home today sleeping.
I'm glad that it's raining. It's really hot and dry, so we could use a little rain. Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday. It's another episode of GeesBeeCee Women with Words. We are excited to be here. We have
really?
Yeah. We made it just in time. Busy day today. Crazy week at work for me. But we made it in time. Hello, Agatha.
Happy Friday Eve, Auntie.
Happy Friday Eve. My people, hello, please. Want to make sure you invite somebody. Welcome to August. This is our first show in August.
Yes.
What it is the Leo and Virgo people season.
I see them making noise on social media already.
But they can never top us in June. I don't care how much noise those Leo and Virgo. I don't know what do they do. Say, do you have any Virgo friends?
I don't even know what. I don't follow that thing. You know.
I do follow it.
I don't believe in it. So I don't even know what sign belongs to what month except mine. I know what mine is, but outside of that, I couldn't tell you.
I don't know. They say Virgo personality is a person between practical, sensible, and loyal.
And these are people born in July?
August 23rd to the 22nd. I think Eva is a Virgo because she's in September. Marjorie is a Virgo.
Well,
those are the noisy
They're not quiet, are they? Because those two people aren't quiet. Right?
I know they're not quiet at all. So Virgo season and Leo season. Welcome, but we're excited to be here. Lots of things have been happening on Facebook.
My dear.
We'll talk about it at the end of the show. A lot have been happening. The saga is going on. 3 years a crowd. So that's the only conclusion I got to today. But we're excited to be here. It's another Thursday. Yesterday they had a hole in this. I call it a hole in the sun. The halo in Liberia.
Oh, the halo. Okay.
Halo. Say halo.
I was like, what?
Liberia. Now we have different interpretations. Some people think it's scientific. Some people think it's religious. Some people think that Liberia, a new day is dawn in Liberia. Some people relating it to the fact that when they saw it before, it was during the war, it was Chancellor time, it was Ebola time. But whatever it's worth, we did see it scientifically. They say when there are crystals of ice, thin ice that form around the sun, that's what it is. You get that. One nurse described it as looking in your eye, go do your eye test, it look like a hole in the eye. So whatever it is, Liberia was on top of the news this week. Yeah.
Well, the people are desperate and they're looking for hope. So anything that will give them the least bit of hope, they will gravitate towards it. Hence why there's so many preachers and pastors. That's another thing that I see. I've been noticing. Have you noticed there's a lot of people on their post, they will say a statement and then they will say something like, what God cannot do
does not
exist. And then something 7 a.m. I'm like, what the hell is this?
I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen it quite a
the heathen is coming out of her. You say, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
I see it too all the time, but I think I've seen it, but I think a lot of people, like I wake up in the morning, they share this. I think it's a church
It's some 7 a.m. crusade or just another con artist. I can't even talk. Another con artist. I don't know, but hey, if it makes you feel good, go ahead. As long as you ain't hurting anybody.
Go ahead. I'm
all for it. Find hope where you can.
Yeah, of course, August, the month of summer months, I would say June, July, August September is when we have a lot of reunions, class reunions. I saw a reunion the other day that I was excited to see, and very small, didn't make much noise. The Chukwa Association. I smiled because my aunt used to live in Chukwa, and my grandparents lived in Gaytown. When I saw that, I was like, maybe I need to they play my part coming from Wakatan Association.
I learned something about that because I didn't know how it was spelled. It's TCHUBOR, I believe. The T is silent, so
yes, I saw pictures.
For me, it was a learning opportunity. So yeah. My cousin.
It was exciting for me to see the president of Conde University, Dr. Romel Horton, was actually the guest speaker.
Oh,
and
nice.
She was here. So anyway, welcome to the show.
Somebody answer us, Glendy. Hold on.
Say that again.
Someone said, I think a Nigerian pastor started a prayer chain during the pandemic and millions of people got involved. I told you. Okay, thank you for that explanation.
Yes.
I appreciate that. I figure it was somebody. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot. A lot of people have shared it. It's just,
but it's only recently that I've seen it.
The Lord is so people share stuff all the time. Sometimes I don't have the time, but I know I remember that what God cannot do does not exist, which is a true statement. But I think it's related to this. This thing is here all over. You see that pastor video, they'll just drop it in your box anytime.
But this is only recently though. So the pandemic's been over for at least a year. Something happened. It's been in the last
for a while though, maybe about a year.
I just started seeing it in the last month or two.
They've been sending that long time. People have been posting it on their page. It's been for quite a bit.
It's a particular one though. Not that phrase. Then they end it with 7 a.m. prayer or something. So
it's the same one, and it's like a red. The pastor is in, I think, like a red something. They always share with his picture or whatever. Anyway, whatever it is. Welcome. We have a guest here today. We're excited to talk to her. We're going to bring our guest on. Make sure she's ready. Hello.
How are you?
Welcome.
Oh,
we're doing good, Goumah. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a privilege. This is a very important platform, and for you to be here, you are a very important person.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. So we're going to be talking to Goumah here this evening, talking about the work and things she's been doing in Liberia. Agatha and I think we tried the waters to work with government on something, but there was just a lot of things going on at the time, and we were not able to fulfill the things that we want to do. But we still wanted to talk to you on, because I did see you recently in Liberia with your children. That was exciting to see. So we want to talk to you. Tell us a little bit, introduce yourself so that people watching will know who you are.
Well, so I am Goumah Conde. Well, people beat me up for not saying Bass Conde. So let me add my maiden name. I'm Goumah Bass Conde, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. That's my profession. I do like to say I'm first a wife and then a mother. Then I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, in that order.
Great.
Child of the soil, Liberian girl from Harrisburg and Bon County.
Bon County in
the you speak better small?
Little bit.
The one that do parkour in
my grandparents live in Banga, so the only thing I know is Paku Mami.
I want to know the song Pakuli.
I
Sparkly.
love it. I love it.
Yes. But tell us a little bit. I know you introduced the professional side. Tell us about the Goumah growing up in Liberia. See how you can contrast it to Goumah growing here in the States, and then we can go into your professional side.
Yeah. So Goumah growing up in Liberia, lived in many different parts. I was born in Monrovia. My father used to work for the Methodist Church. He was the treasurer for the church, and then he took a job in Lofa, which is my favorite county to live in ever. I always say he took a job in Lofa, and he was the managing director there for one of the projects for LCADP, Lofa County Development Project. And then we stayed there for some time. Then he took over the rubber factory, RCL. So then we moved to Banga, and he headed that until the war came. Then, well, I was in boarding school when the war came, so I was back in Lofa on LTI, Lutheran Training Institute.
Oh.
Yeah, then we relocated to Monrovia because of the war. So I never really lived in the city until the war. The war brought me down to the city, but I always lived up country, loved it, and then stayed in Monrovia for about at least 9 years of the Civil War, and I left in '98 to come here for college. Studied in North Carolina and then finished up in Florida, where I lived in Miami for many years. So I finished up in Florida, and then went into counseling and all that good stuff.
So you're my neighbor.
I used to be a neighbor, yes, for many, many years.
Amazing. When you're talking about you spent some time in Banga or Bon County. I always I think for me, Bon County, the only thing that I continue to remember is the place was so dusty. They had one central location where all the buses were,
Right.
and that was the place you would go to get the bus to go to Monrovia, to go to Lofa, to go to Lima, and that place was just full of dust. I can't. My grandfather and the irony is my grandparents, their home, they wouldn't use any other color of paint but white. And that whitewash maybe every 3 months because it was so dusty. So the command is here now. You're here in America. You go to growing up in Liberia and looking at what did you want to become growing up? Did you see yourself wanting to become a life therapist, coach?
No, actually, I came to school to do law. So my friends who are watching, I would laugh because I went to J.J. Roberts and then, CWA and all of that. And every time I was asked, what you want to do, I was going to do law. So when I came to do that. But of course, to get a law degree, you have to have a first degree, right? So for my first degree, I chose to do psychology. And I fell in love and never looked back.
Amazing. So you came pretty young. We're gonna go a little bit into the family portion first, and then come back outside. You came young.
Yeah.
You went to school, became a professional, and you met your husband here.
I met him here. Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit, because most of the time we skip over that part of some interviews. Sometimes we have an opportunity to talk about family. And sometimes we don't have the opportunity. So you're here, you meet your husband. And tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, so I meet my husband, but I meet him through a mutual friend. My husband is also Liberian. We didn't know each other in Liberia at all. But we met through a mutual friend who went to my church. And the fellow who went to my church, Councillor Oswald Tue, if you're watching, but he went to my church, and then his wife.
So they consider from continent and he didn't want connecting people here.
I knew she had to bring the continent into it.
Right. Yeah, so his wife and my husband were friends. So we met so I knew him and my husband knew the wife.
Okay.
So he introduced us.
Amazing. You're married and you have 2 or 3 girls.
3 girls.
Amazing.
So
tell us now, you start working. Tell us a little bit about the work you do, and then we'll go into the work you do in Liberia.
Yeah. So of course I finished school, and then you go through all the procedure protocols to become a therapist, the internship, the licensure, the everything else. And I started working in foster care. That was where I worked other places at first, but my foundation for trauma started in foster care. I worked with children who were just in every kind of situation you can imagine. uh, did that for a good number of years, and then after that, I think that was when I decided that that was my passion. My passion was trauma and attachment injury. So I spent a lot of time doing my postgraduate internship and all of that, concentrating on trauma. Um, and I work with couples, so of course most of my time is spent trying to help them see how their childhood, as they would call it, issues. I don't like the word issues, but you know, their childhood challenges, I prefer to use, affect their relationships. So we will work on healing. We work on healing attachment injuries, childhood traumas, all of the things that we don't know leave us wounded, so that they can be able, preserve their relationships. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I got so.
I want to learn a little bit more about your practice here and how it relates to the African, or I'm going to just say the Liberian mentality. So
Mm,
you do family and marriage counseling.
mhm, mhm.
Growing up for me, it was hard for adults
Yeah,
to talk about their relationships,
yeah,
especially to us children.
yeah.
And then I I, I don't know of an adult, a Liberian adult older than us, that
Mhm,
actually went and sat down with someone
mhm.
to discuss their issues, right? If not their elders in the community.
Right.
How do you do? First of all, do you have many clients that are of African descent? Doesn't have to be Liberians, of African
Mhm,
descent, because I know
mhm,
this is prominent all of West Africa,
mhm.
at least the countries that I've lived in. And then secondly, how
Right.
do you broach the subject to your
Mhm,
parents that you see are having issues? How do you suggest to them, maybe y'all need to go talk to someone?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I actually do. But let me first go back, because you made a very good point in terms of parents not talking about their relationships, or even adults. I think I was blessed in the sense that I had a mother who was very open with me. Some even faulted her for being
Oh,
so open with me. She was criticized, she was ridiculed, all the good stuff.
oh, wow.
But I look back today and I'm so grateful she was, because she didn't pretend about the challenges that you face in a marriage. She didn't pretend about anything. She was just really honest with me. And I think it helped me a lot, to know that it's normal to have challenges in relationships, but that you can overcome them if you work hard enough. So
That's
that was the
awesome.
first thing for me. So I think for me, talking to, and I do have clients who are of African descent. Yes, I do, a good number of them. For me, it really comes down to, how are things working for you? Okay, so you've been doing XYZ and you're telling me that everything is great, but yet you're suffering, you're in
Mhm.
pain. And, you know, so how is that working for you? And if it's not, and you haven't tried this other thing, then what's preventing you from trying it?
Right.
Give it a try. If it doesn't work, drop it.
Interesting. So, next question. How do you and let me preface this by saying I go to counseling. I go by
Mhm.
myself. Counseling,
Bravo.
therapy. Maybe you can
Good.
teach me the
Therapy.
difference.
You
I
go to
use them
therapy. Mhm.
interchangeably. I do.
Yeah.
I go to therapy alone, and
Hmm.
then I go with my husband and I. I'm
Excellent.
of the mindset that just the way I go to the doctor for my checkup, I
Mhm.
need to take care of my mental health. So
That's
I've
right.
I've always done that. I mean,
That's
people
right.
that most of us of this age from Liberia, we went through some kind of trauma. If it wasn't the coup, it was the war, the first one, the second, whatever it was,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
divorced parents, whatever it is.
Mhm. Mhm.
Ah, how do you encourage someone that off the mindset, right? I know you say how is it working for you, but how do you even get me in your chair?
Yeah.
I wasn't taught.
Yeah.
You are the minority, if I may say that, right? Where your mother even talked to you and share.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
children. You were not heard, you
Mhm.
know, He just saw you. You shut up. You answer questions that were asked of you and nothing else. Pretty much how I grew up. My mom was very straight. So for someone like myself, before I started, it was difficult for me to be vulnerable. That's the word. For me to be vulnerable to someone,
Yeah.
especially a stranger, you know. So how do you get people to open up and trust you and accept that vulnerability to be able to talk to you, and what type of help do you give them? Say someone never been to therapy before, right? And they're listening to you now, and then I ain't telling that woman my story. What can she do for me? So first of all, how do you get me in your office, right? And how do you keep me?
Well, so there are many different parts to that. How I keep you there, that's a whole part B. But but how I get you in is really through education. I'm very big on, in our field, we'll call it psychoeducation, right? I'm very big on education. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you know that's what I do. Took me forever to get on any social media platform. I get teased now, like you're here and then you can't stop. But I think I've only been on maybe 7 years, I would say. And my thing coming on was always, how can I use this platform for something positive? So what I started doing was doing trauma education, doing marriage education, and that's really how I've been able to have couples reach out to me and say, we need help. I'll tell you that I always argue with people when they say Liberian men in particular don't like to work on their marriage. I always say it's not true. And you know how I know it's not true? I hear more from men in my inbox than I hear from anybody else.
There you go.
They come into my inbox and they say, says Goumah, or however, they choose to call me, can I talk to you? I need help. And I get that all the time. And it's not women who are reaching out. So I know that if we just educate people, they're going to feel empowered enough and take the next step. And I'm fortunate to where, they come into me and they feel safe. So thankfully, I've been a safe place for many. And, they know that they can trust me. They know that whatever they share with me stays there. They know that I'm in their best interest, that the marriage is my client, not the individual. The marriage is my client.
That's a salient point. I think that's something that people need to, I think once you understand, and I want to connect it with what you said, that people trust you. People trust you because the way you explain it, and it just hit me, it's like, it's not me that you're talking to, it's my situation you're trying to get me out of.
Yeah.
And so once people are able to understand that that's what you're working towards, I think it makes it easier for them to be able to open up to trust you. But I want to ask about, you talked about, and that's strange to know, that people would think men don't talk. But I think men do talk if they know they can trust the person. So they'll be able to talk, and that's what I'm hearing from you. So I want you to talk about the difference, because when you say you have clients, a typical Liberian marriage that you've helped compared to another culture, what are some of the, how the English people call it, synonyms, or what are some of the similarities that you see, or how far apart are we when we have issues and wanting to resolve them?
Excellent question, Glennie. Let me tell you something I've learned, and I tell my clients this all the time. People think that because we live on different continents, that we have different problems. They're all the same.
Yeah.
Whether my couple is Liberian, or whether they're Indian, or whether they're from Trinidad, it's all the same. At the end of the day, when we talk about trauma and we talk about relationship issues, what we know is trauma is not just what happened to us, it's also what didn't happen for us that needed to have happened, right? Nobody told me they loved me. Nobody told me they cared about me. Nobody gave me food to eat. Nobody paid my tuition. Nobody asked how I was feeling. All of those things can leave us wounded. So from small T's, small traumas, all the way to complex trauma, sexual abuse, war, violence, all of those things, as long as we're wounded, we're going to play it out in some way. So these things come out in our relationships. It really doesn't matter where you come from. I have found that couples come in and one issue mimics the next, and the next it's just the same.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say something that you said. Let me say this before I even say that. It's such a breath of fresh air to listen to another Liberian woman talk about these mental issues that all of us experience. And I just wanted to share this. I heard this, I don't know where, but some time ago it says, you said regardless of where the couple is from, but human being as a whole, regardless of where we're from, we all want the same thing in life.
That's right.
We want our kids to do better than we had. You know, we want to be happy. We want to see our children, you know, be safe. So regardless of where you're from, even our likelihood. So I'm not surprised that you said what you said, that people from the West Indies, Africa, America, marriage is a union of two totally different people coming together and trying to make it work. And we all, regardless of where we're from, we want the same thing. So that's powerful.
Yeah, very
So
true. Well said.
I see that we're I'm telling you we're more engaged in the counseling right now
I
than
know,
the like
right?
but it's an important it's always
Yeah.
tricky when you have someone who is so so I don't even know, so eloquent with a subject matter, like you are your counselor, this is your area, this is what you know. So when you're talking to us, the information is flowing and we're grasping what you're telling us. I want to ask about you from Africa. You're here, you go to school here. I always like to ask that question because I think it's important that people understand it's also not easy to excel as being of African descent in an era. So you're here, you're a counselor. I want to tell you what are some of the stigmatizations that are out there for you wanting to be in this role.
Who, where do I begin? Well, yeah, they came in all forms. I tell you, I think part of it, one of the things I kept hearing over and over was, did you learn English in your country? How are you going to
Exactly.
communicate?
So you counselor, I tell how was supposed to deal with that kind of question they will ask.
Goumah, when you finish, I will tell you how I answer that question.
Yes.
How are you going to communicate with these people? And or sometimes one of my most formative experience was a client walking into the office, opening the door, looking at me, and I could tell when I saw the person's expression that they thought,
Mm.
and but I knew. So of course I didn't fight. I just sat there and I looked, and later on they were honest with me, right, and shared what they thought when they saw me. But you get used to that. You get used to it. At least for me, I know it's not personal. I know it has very little to do with me. So, and more to do with where they're at, whatever their own internal dialogue is when they come to see me. So I just deal with it that way. That people behave in ways that make them feel comfortable when they are afraid or anxious or whatever you want to call it. So if you are close to pain, whatever you do, that is what you're doing to soothe yourself. It may not look pleasant to me, it may not feel pleasant to me, but it works for you.
Yeah, but they ask that question all the time. One of the questions that always irritate me, they will ask is, "What's that smell?" I said, "Food." What do you mean? It's like they always say. I don't think they mean any harm, but I think sometimes it's how we hear it.
Yeah.
But it's like it's you being able to to come out of that stigmatization and still excel in your role, so that you don't let it bother where you want to go. So I gotta tell how you deal with that question.
Oh,
When
not the job that I'm at right now. I left this job and went to another job, and there was this mature lady. So she would probably be in her late 50s at the time. And she said, "Oh, you're the Agatha that they talk about." And the first thing I'm like, okay, what the hell they say about me? So I'm already suspicious. So I'm looking at her funny. And she said, "Oh, I wasn't expecting a black girl."
really?
Well, I'm not a girl. I'm a grown woman, but I didn't say that. And then she said, and then I spoke, and she picked up my accent. And she alone was having these. I haven't said anything yet. I'm just taken aback at this time that this lady is saying this to me. So and then I said, "Yeah, it's me." And she said, "No, no, no." When she said I wasn't expecting a black girl, I said, "What were you expecting? An old white lady?" Because of my name. I mean, my name is Agatha Joseph, so I get that a lot. And then she said, "Oh, where are you from? You have an accent." And I said, "Well, your guess is as good as mine. North Carolina, I guess." And she said, "No, no, you're from one of those countries far, far away. Are you from Jamaica?" I said, "Maybe, who knows?" I said, "What does it matter?" And she said, "Well, I guess they were right. You are pretty smart for you to be able to speak English this well."
Oh,
I said, "Yeah, I'm a effing genius." And I used the whole word. And I said, "Yeah, I'm a effing genius." And I just walked off. And the sad thing about this lady reported to me. So I had to educate her.
mhm.
And when people are ignorant, they're ignorant. I'm sorry, you can't. I don't care how much you try to educate them. When they're stupid, it's stupid. And
Yeah.
she was just one of those that just never got over that this black woman, and she always referred to me as a girl, that this black girl from Africa was her boss.
Yeah.
And I could run circles around her. But yeah, I haven't learned how to do that yet. I said, God's still working on me.
Well, prior to training, it was always somewhat shocking to me, but I don't think I was ever really carried away by the behaviors. But once I became trained, one of my favorite statement ever, and I always tell my girls this, is every behavior has a story. So it doesn't mean I need to condone
Yes.
the behavior, right?
Okay.
It doesn't mean I need to put up with your behavior. It just means I need to understand that there's a story to your behavior.
It's coming from somewhere.
It's coming from somewhere.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I can live with that and work with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So let me before we go into the Liberia, go into the real reason why you're here.
I know, right?
But it's just that it's we I mean last year we had I think 3 or 4 counselors come on, and we're looking for a time where we have different counselors come on together where we can talk to them. So you're counseling us now for the year. You're a counselor for the year. We'll talk about the Liberia stuff, but I wanted to ask, have you had clients, maybe like you do marriage counseling? Have you had a married couple that you were counseling that in the midst of the counseling decided, forget it, we don't want to do this? Wow. So tell us about, so is it the husband that come first, the wife that come first, you bring them together, and how are you able to I really want to know, because I want to know how are you able to resolve, like have you had, let me ask another, have you had instances where the two of them were so far apart? Tell us about how you were able to bridge the gap so that they'll come to understand that we're talking not about you as individuals, but we're talking about the problem that has separated the two of you.
I have had that. What I have had to do is to, and I've only done it once, but I have had to have a couple stay in separate places while we try to work on the issues in the marriage. Okay. So that I've had, but to have them separate completely or to get a divorce, no. who do I have coming in more? I've had more women call and say, I need therapy. And then as they come in, one of the first things I tell them after 1 or 2 sessions is, listen, I do want to work with you. And I know it's important for you to do this work. However, I'm going to tell you this. See, I come from a systemic approach. So there's a difference between a mental health therapist and a marriage and family therapist.
Okay.
The mental health is more pathology, right? Like diseases and diagnosis. And of course, there's more to it, but for the sake of time. And then for marriage and family, we look at the entire system. So I'm not just looking at, oh, you're depressed, but I'm looking at what's causing you, to get to this place. What is triggering this depression in you? It could be chemical, yes, but is it also coming from the family system? Is it something else that's going on? So normally I'm saying to you, I want to work with you, but what I know is going to happen is you're going to leave here very aware, very self-aware and evolved. Then you're going to go back into your family system, back to your husband, back to your children, if you have them. And now they don't understand you. Now you're speaking a foreign language to them. Mm-hmm. So now you have more conflict. So the best thing for us to do is to work on the marriage. Because if we work on the marriage and the two of you are on the same page, then it fosters your healing process.
Sometimes is it just not worth it? I mean, they're just too far gone. Mm-hmm. And I know you can't say y'all too far gone, y'all just go your separate ways. But and I know sometimes my therapist can want to say you're an ass. So I don't do that.
Well, I could
just have to say it, but no, in those instances, what do you do?
Yeah, no, I could say you're too far gone. I mean, there are therapists who would say that. I could. I just know that when I see a couple, when they come into me, 9 out of 10 times, for me, the first thing is if you made the effort to be here, that means you have some kind of hope for your relationship. Yeah. So let's start there. Let's just start there, right? So once I see that, I figure that I know that we can do the work if you're willing to put in the work. And I'm very honest with my couple. I say it's going to be difficult. You're not going to like me sometimes. You're going to, and they've told me, I didn't like you the first 6 weeks. That's okay, right? You may not like me. You may not even want to come. But if you put in the work, you're going to yield the results that you want.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right.
I think we can switch to the work now in Liberia.
I think we can switch. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us, of course, this is GeesBeeCee Women with Words. We're here this evening talking to beautiful Mrs. Goumah. If you've seen Goumah and her husband, they look like they just started love business.
Oh.
I'm telling you.
I
want, yes, it's the truth. It's the truth. If you want to go to her page and see them, and you can just tell how so soft this woman is. And I'm sure, and her husband is also, when you see quiet people, you can see it in that picture. You can see me, I'm quiet.
Yes, we all know that. But you can see that I'm a very quiet person.
Yeah, I know you're extremely quiet, honey. But anyway, we're so happy to have Goumah talking to us. If you're out there, she's a family and marriage licensed therapist. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between a therapist and a counselor?
Listen, we're all counselors, but here's the thing. So in order for you to be a therapist, you have to have gone to undergraduate school, graduate school. You have to sit for licensure. You specialize in whatever the case is that you want, or the population that you want to work with. Okay. So therapy is more in terms of theories. You have to come from a place of particular, sorry, I didn't mean that. Since Pauline, we are very quiet. I don't know how you manage to me, Agatha. We are extremely quiet. Plus,
what I can melt in my mouth, sir.
Go ahead, Goumah.
Yeah. So a therapist will come from a particular theoretical orientation.
Okay.
So you have to learn different theories. It's just a matter of the training, right? It's years and years of training. So that's the difference.
And the counselor in the church, usually.
Yeah, but you do have some therapists now who are in church. As a matter of fact, when I started school, I went for pastoral counseling. That's how I
Okay.
started. I
Okay.
went for pastoral counseling, but then I realized I would have been very limited to just church folks.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to work with what I call all of God's children in the
Okay.
church and outside of the church.
Peter's like me.
She said, you know, say if you want, if you're out there, Goumah is a Liberian. She's trained. I mean, just listening, talking to her. I think she has counseled Agatha just from this show already.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, just from this show, we've learned something. Learned
Yeah.
it. I learned something major that when someone is counseling you or when you're seeking therapy, you have to be able to trust them because they're not dealing with you. They don't care who the hell Glendy is. They're just dealing with what's going on with Glendy that's got her in balance. So check her out, reach out to her, connect with. I mean, you don't have to connect with us because people can be very private when it comes to that. But I'm just talking to you. You're someone that we can trust that you will be able to help them and keep their information confidential. So I want to switch
Absolutely.
now to Liberia.
Okay.
Why at this time you're here, you're accomplished, you have a beautiful family, you're working here. Why do you now why did you decide to be able to go back and help your country?
Good question. First of all, because I am a Liberian girl. That's the first thing, right? And people, all my work may laugh at me for that. 'Cause I always say, I'm a proud Liberian girl, but I am. And again, the story goes back to foster care. Me working in foster care, seeing how young women had access to mental health care. In this country, of course, most of it the system will cover. When you're working with the state, to see that if a girl got raped last night, if she reported it, she was able to get help right away.
Mm.
And I remember going into many homes. I would get called the next day and say, "We have this case for you to take on that case." And I kept thinking, "Oh my goodness, if and only if the girls in my country had this opportunity."
Yeah.
So it was just that for me, Glenda. It was that is I started it working in foster care, but then when I started to follow Niswa Bien's page, which is where we met,
Mm.
following her page and seeing stories upon stories of just the violence that's taking place in the country,
Mm.
against young girls and of course boys too. I couldn't sit any longer. I just really couldn't. So that was it.
Amazing. So you go back and what is the difference? So tell us specifically what do you do?
Mhm.
What's your work in
Yeah,
Liberia?
yeah. So this all started because there was an incident that took place in Liberia. I'm not going to go into it, but it took place, and someone was suffering because of that incident. It was really bad.
Mm.
It was a male, and the person reached out to me and said, I need help. It was just really bad. They couldn't function. They couldn't go to work, anything.
Mm.
So I thought about how I could help this person. I said, well, now that I'm virtual, it was after COVID, everybody's virtual, therapy was virtual. So I said, well, now that I'm virtual, maybe I can try and see if this is going to work. So I said, okay, I'll set a schedule for you. You'll come on this time every week and, we will do some trauma work. And I did the work with this individual. And by the second session, this person was able to go into the office where they couldn't go to the office. It was so
Mm.
bad. They were able to go into the office, they were working, they were functioning. The relationship that started to have problems was okay. So then I started to talk to relatives and people who were actually doing some things in Liberia. And I said, I want to be able to provide counseling to the girls in Liberia because I've seen the rape stories. I'm just really tired. And talking to my cousin, they have a school in Liberia, and he said to me, "Well, why don't we talk to who is my aunt? Let's talk to her because she's the co-owner of the school." So we talked to her, and she was more than generous to allow me to, I like to call it, to take up space in her nursing station. And she said, "You can use the nurse's office, as your counseling office. And I
Mm.
said, okay. So we did that, set up the place. I went home that year. My brother was getting married, so I took advantage, set up the place. And then we found somebody who would kind of coordinate to get the girls if they wanted to come in.
Right.
And that's how we started. I started doing virtual counseling. So what people don't know is I wake up 5 a.m. on Friday mornings. All my clients know I don't work on Fridays. They don't know, most of them don't know why I don't work on Fridays. But I don't work on Fridays in the US because that's when I dedicate to the girls. And I wake up at 5 a.m. They start to come in there in the morning and we do counseling with them. They sign up, believe it or not. People say, are they going to sign up? Yes, they do. They sign up, they come. And what happened was I started working with them, but then the demand, it just became to where I could not, meet all of the needs. They were coming in. I was working up until about 2, 3 in the afternoon over here, my time. So I
Mm.
said to the person who was coordinating and my cousins, I said, listen, why not we do a camp? I want to come in and do a trauma camp because that way I can serve more girls or women instead of having 2, 3, or 5 each week. And that's what you saw on Facebook. It was me packing up my bags, going home, packing my kids, um, going to Liberia, having camp. Camp started. The plan was to have initially maybe about 20 girls.
Mm.
By the time we actually had camp, we have 45 females. We had
Wow.
adult women and we had girls. So we split it up into 2 groups. So I had the adult women do 4 days. The camp went for 10 days. Adult women did 4 days of camp, intensive camp. And then the girls did 5 days intensive camp. And then
Mm.
we had the closing ceremony on a Sunday where both groups came together and we had the celebration. Mhm.
Amazing.
So the girls and women that you see, do you follow up with them, or is it just camp and then that's it? Can they how does it work after camp?
Mhm. So we're following up with them. We just had the first camp. We are actually starting group in a few weeks. We're going to be doing group. So they're going to be coming in for group sessions as they
Mm-hmm.
continue to heal. And I'll tell you, I get messages, in the morning from husbands, from relatives, just saying how they can see the
The
healing. It's
difference.
in their homes. They're seeing
Oh.
what's happening there. So yeah, my heart is full. I tell you, my heart is full. It brings me a lot of joy.
Are you the
Mhm.
only service provider, or is there someone else that assists you? And is there plans to get someone that's local, or is there someone already local in Liberia that can help?
Mhm. I have someone who's local who has some training in counseling through a bigger organization. So she's there with me. I'm the only one who does the trauma work because I'm the only trained trauma professional
Okay.
who's there.
Mm.
So I do the counseling with them during the week and I run the sessions when I'm there for the camp. But she is very resourceful, very helpful. She does all the intake with them. She sits with me through the sessions. So she's,
Mm.
so that I have someone that just in case we have somebody go into a convulsion or those things that can happen with trauma counseling.
Right, right.
Yeah.
This is really good work.
Amazing. Amazing work. So do you when you're here, how do you continue to do the work there when you're not in Liberia and you're here? How does I know you have somebody in Liberia, but do you still do like maybe virtual meetings with them or so?
Hmm. We meet, like I said, every Friday we meet. Once we're up and running, we're on every Friday. We do virtual therapy with them. They have individual therapy, by the way. So they come in one at a time. We do
Okay.
individual work with them. Yeah, for confidential reasons.
Of course.
Amen.
We do that, and then we're going to start doing running groups. So then they will have them coming, and not just the kids coming, but the parents coming. Because again, we want to treat the whole system. Because
Of
these
course.
kids are going to go back.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a funny joke. After camp, one of the young ladies went home and the mom was highly anxious. And she said to her mom, pause, breathe, count, right? She's doing all these things that she's learned.
Right.
And so the mom called the coordinator and said, what in the world are you all doing to our children?
Yeah.
So we know that we need to also provide psychoeducation for the parents. So
Absolutely.
it's all on the same page. Mhm.
So here you are, a Liberian woman, leaving your family, leaving your kids here, going to Liberia pretty often, running a whole program, counseling program there. I hate to bring this question to bring it home. How is there any connection with the government?
No.
Is
And
it
let it stay that way.
solely funded by you, and everything is by you?
It
That's
is for
amazing.
now. It is. God has been providing. We're working. Hopefully, at some point, there's a nonprofit status that they can, we can fund that. But for now, yeah, it's self-funded. Mhm.
And I know how difficult that can be.
Yes, yes.
And we're almost at the hour, but I do want to ask this. How do people connect with you? Someone's listening today knows about a young lady or a young man that needs some trauma help. How
Mhm.
do they get in touch with you?
So I would give you all the number for you to list on your site.
Yes.
And you can also follow my page. I'm just Goumah Conde on Facebook.
Okay.
And then you can send me a message in Messenger.
Okay.
Please do not post your personal issues on Facebook. I'm going to repeat it 3 times. Please do not post your personal issues on Facebook. Do not post anybody's name on Facebook to me in my chat. Please don't do it. Inbox me because I want to keep the person's information private. Okay, they
Yeah.
deserve that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So we and like she said, she is on Facebook. Goumah Conde. If you're listening and you want to be a support to this work, this initiative that she's taking up all on her own, you can certainly connect with her on Facebook. You can ask. You can reach out to me and say, Glenda, who was that very beautiful woman that had a very beautiful South African looking African dress?
Oh, thank you. Straight from
Or
Liberia.
you can certainly, yeah, Liberia dress, or you can certainly connect with Agatha. But this is fulfilling when Liberians cannot look at how difficult
Yeah.
things may become for them and how they have to squeeze their finances, but they can still want to make the sacrifice for our country. Liberia, it's just amazing. It is so amazing. We want to thank
Thank
you
you, Glenda.
for what you've done. We want
Yeah.
to continue to talk to you. When you do decide, whenever you want to come on this show, it's more of your platform than it is ours.
Thank you.
Please let us know. You can now share everything on our page. You have your own app page. Whatever work you're doing, you can just, you like the page, you can share your stuff on it. But we want to continue. We're looking forward to the day where we now have, I think, 4 counselors. We have you,
Wow.
we have Leslie, we have
Therapist. The people went to school. They got plenty of degrees.
we got a real people. We have 4 licensed therapists. We have Leslie Manley. We have you, Goumah. We have what's the name? Yale Greaves. We have oh my
The
goodness,
brown skin lady, right?
brown skin. We have her. So we're looking to a time maybe when we're winding down in September. We will see where we can reach out to the 4 of you to come and let's just talk. And, let's talk. Let's have the audience ask questions and stuff. Maybe we'll probably do that for our anniversary. We can do something virtual. We're thinking about what we can do, but I think it would be amazing to see and like Agatha and I, the way people think that we're not quiet, but we are quiet. You guys can lead us out of that thing and say, no, you're not quiet. How can you counsel us to believe that we are not?
Okay.
Goumah, thank you so much. Thank you for all you do. We'll continue to follow you. We appreciate the work that you do in Liberia.
Absolutely.
It's selfless.
Mm.
It is so selfless and it's so accommodating. This is what Liberia needs. So we want to thank you. Look out for the invitation where we just want therapists to come and just talk to us.
Yeah.
And help us. We need
Glenda needs a lot of help.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I do appreciate that, and thank you, ladies, for the work you do,
Yes,
bringing awareness to the Liberian community. And the
yes,
truth is that a platform like that will be able to provide more education. That's what we need.
Absolutely.
yes, yes. So
Yeah.
we'll work on the date and we'll reach out to you all. And even if 3 out of 4 can come, we will go ahead and set the date so that you all can come. But thank you,
Absolutely.
like Akata said. I like Akata. She said the same thing every time. Counseling helps. She believes in therapy. She
Somehow being
believes in
president, we're
it.
not doing that, you know. And that's not, listen,
I love it.
there's a stigma with Black folks, not even African, Black folks
Mhm,
and therapists,
mhm,
Mhm.
Black folks and mental health.
mhm.
There's all this when you say you get some mental issue or you need to talk, oh, they get crazy, oh,
Yeah,
they all want crack, oh. We
yeah,
need to get away from that. No,
Exactly.
no, we talk about it, but it's true. I mean,
yeah.
Grandma, I'm sure you can attest to it. It's
No.
true. In our
Mhm,
community, when
mhm,
somebody has a little bit of mental issues, they start talking
mhm.
behind the but no matter how like she
Yeah,
crack it. Oh.
yeah,
So before they
yeah,
get my story, I get my own
yeah.
story.
Yeah. Well, and you know what the truth is, Agatha, even if even if we are, even if we are, let's say we were.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
isn't it the best thing for us to do to sit
Get
and get the
help.
help? Right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
yes,
If you had high blood pressure, you would take medication. When you have a headache,
Absolutely. There
you
you
pop the
go.
tablet.
Yeah.
So
And
thank
I
you.
say it to normalize it. I know we
Mhm.
joke a lot about
Yeah.
everything, but if some people think that I got all my crap together, but
Mhm.
I say this because this is why I got my crap together, because
Yes.
I know sometimes I need help and I
Yes.
get help.
That's
So,
right.
don't think my life is perfect. My life is by
Mhm.
far
Mhm.
not perfect, but
Mhm.
I've recognized that I got some issues and I need to fix those issues. So the
yeah,
same way I go to that cardiologist, let me tell you, my therapist I go there every 2 weeks. We
I
there,
love
we
it.
talking. Sometimes she can say,
I
lady,
love it.
calm down, lady, step out, go drink some water, then come back and let's talk. And
That's
she said,
right.
want to
That's right.
scream, scream. So I scream,
That's
I
right.
get it over with.
Mhm.
Then when I
Mhm.
come home and the free little ain't doing what she's supposed to do, I already not screamed to the office, so I'm good. I'm collected. I got
That's right.
tools to help me. I myself can
Mhm.
breathe.
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4. But anyway, I'm
I
done.
love
Thank you
that.
so
I
so
much.
love
Goumah,
it.
thank you so much for coming on,
I
and
love it.
we'll follow up with you. We look forward to talking to all 3 or 4 of you. It's
You're
gonna be an
welcome.
amazing time. We want
Yes.
to say thank you for coming
Thank you,
on.
Grandma. So nice to talk to
All the
you.
very best.
You're
Our love to
welcome.
your family, to your
Thank
beautiful
you.
family.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
All
you. Thank you.
right.
Bye,
Okay.
ladies. Bye.
Bye. Amazing.
Woo! Smart woman.
Yes.
We talk a lot about her profession here, but it's
Mhm.
because she's and I'm glad we spent a lot of time on that, because I felt comfortable, and I hope our audience felt comfortable with her as well. Because now that you know what she's doing, now that you know what she's doing after talking to her, I trust the work that she's doing. She's very
Yes.
capable.
Yes.
She's passionate about what she does. So,
Mhm.
the ladies and women, and I guess some guys that she's meeting with in Liberia, they're so fortunate to have someone that's trained, that's able to help them. Listen, Liberia, we are a bunch of damaged people mentally.
True.
Expect the coup, the war, the rice riot, the coup, the war, the second war, the third war,
Yeah.
all the different leaderships we've had mess us up. The no school, the no water, the hustle, the dad that can't provide for his family. Yes, somebody said it,
Yeah.
Maria, you're right. We are broken people. So kudos to Goumah for what she's doing, she and her team.
Yeah.
Kudos to them.
Amazing work. So, like she said, she's on Facebook. Reach out to her if you need to connect with her. Connect with Agata and I. But we're going to work on planning where we bring all of our therapists that we've talked to. We own it.
Now, our personal people,
Yeah,
we
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 own
get lawyer
it.
on retainer. I get
Yes,
lawyer on retainer. I get therapist on retainer. My dear.
we'll
Yeah,
bring them. We'll bring them here to talk to her because I'm sure there are a lot that we are broken people. There are a lot of questions you
we
have.
are.
So we'll get
We
those questions so
are.
we can talk about it. Well, we're almost
We
at the end of the show, but we're not gonna end. We're all talking about three is a crowd. Liberia people. I swear. But it's a serious thing though. It's a serious thing. We're talking about trending issue, and what has been trending is the issue with Vivian, Stephen, Naomi, and now the wife. And I think what no violence. Let me just say first, I think my heart goes out to Naomi, that young woman, and how she was. I like to refer to it as mercilessly beaten because she couldn't. I mean, she was not even fighting back. That was not small beating again, that small girl. But it was, and I'm also at the place where, for whatever it's worth, that I hope that Vivian recognizes that what happened was wrong. So just, I mean, I'm not going to go into all of the different pieces, but just to even watch that was difficult. It was difficult to see. Now we've talked about the serious parts. Because I can't even.
I
We talked
someone
about
sent
the
it to me and
serious.
I didn't watch it.
It was
I
horrible.
didn't. I didn't watch it.
I watched good bit of it. And it was
Here's
so
my take
horrible.
on it. Serious or jokingly, whenever there's infidelity, I say this all the time. Who's Vivian? Vivian as the supposedly wife?
She's not the wife. We learned today that the man
Okay,
has a
but
wife. She was girlfriend. So
okay,
Vivian broke up the
so,
husband from her real
so
wife.
okay, so Vivian was the abuser.
Yes.
So she at the time the video came out, she said she was the wife, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So here's my thing. Her beef is not with Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
Naomi owes her no loyalty. She doesn't
Yes.
know her. She doesn't. Her loyalty is with the person she is in a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
So let me say it where I say, if Mr. Joseph get drunk and I'm to fight somebody that he asked, I would be busting out the girl.
Yeah. True.
Because I don't, the other person has no relationship with me, right?
No.
So, and for all the women out there, Vivian, you're wrong because the girl has no loyalty to you. The loyalty
Mm-hmm.
that you should have expected should have come from, was it Stephen?
Stephen.
Stephen. So your lawyer, Stephen was the one that was supposed to be loyal to you. Why you go beat Stephen up? That's who you should have beat up,
Mm-hmm.
not Naomi. Naomi, she's not part of the equation. So you
Yeah.
just give her an audience. You just made Naomi important, and
And
you've
I
taken
think
that
I think
away from
you
yourself.
strike a very important point.
Like I said, I just using example. Okay, Michael, if me and you were married and you cheat on me, and I go into Quebec, your ass are coming bust.
No, but the thing about it too is like it's like you say, it's not Vivian. You said something. Vivian owes no Naomi owes her no loyalty.
None whatsoever.
She could care. I gotta
Yes,
say too. You know what? She doesn't really care. It is
and she
just like
shouldn't.
if you bring it home. Also, is if you bring it home. Also, it's like people should not be holding side chicks, for lack of a better term, responsible. You have to be able to hold that man or that woman who slipped outside of the relationship responsible. How can you go and beat somebody up like that? I'm not even paying attention to that other Michael there.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him daddy. No,
So
you will call me mommy because I'm older than you.
they're very good. Very good. It's wrong. It's like Agata says, like,
Yeah.
and what is sad is Agata is to see, I don't know, we're different. Human beings were just different. But to see how people could have seen that video and still justify that, they're not looking at it, they're not even considering the beating. They're looking at the fact that, oh, she cheated on the man and that she the side chick, so she deserves to get the beating. I
Now
don't know
people
how
look
people
at
think
things.
too.
And Game just said something that speaks to this. You have to understand where they're coming from.
True.
Maybe they've been cheated on, and if you've been cheated on, you know how horrible that feels.
Yeah.
So you have to understand where they're coming from. What's their story behind their action? Which is, I just learned this from Goumah, y'all. Y'all hold on, and I learned, and I go to small therapeutical school.
Hey, get ready.
And you know, but she's right though. Yes, I took that away. I wrote it down on my piece of paper. So now I got to step back and say, okay, let me understand your story. I truly don't want to understand your story, but now I know there's a story behind your action.
Yes.
So behind their actions that are saying about the side chicken, there's a story behind it. You don't have to agree with the story. You just need to understand that there's a story behind the action. And some of the comments made me want to go watch this show because I did not maga pamo who talk about the get iron tete. I know if all of that one was exposed in there.
It was.
It
was. The girl was in cooking her boyfriend rice on the cooker, and the woman came in.
That's Stevie Rice she was cooking?
She was cooking Stevie Rice, and Vivian came there. And Vivian, the first thing she did was, I think she locked the room door. She set her camera. She said, Facebook will watch us here today.
My God.
Then she went and locked the bathroom door.
So she played this.
Yes, she had it playing. The girl had the towel, and the girl was trying to get a blouse. She said, "You're not wearing clothes."
So this was a premeditated ass whooping.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, I'm not condoning this violence. Y'all don't come for me. I'm just making fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's kind of sad though. It was really sad to watch. One of the things I looked at and I wanted to say was, I really feel for Naomi, because I think that this thing is going to be lasting. And when I look at her, there was also an interview with Oprah Weeks, and it appeared to me like watching her, like she was having difficulty speaking, meaning that I hope she doesn't have any fail. Look at the other one, anti-gravity iron titty.
I hear that.
Let me just end it.
That what Stevie saw, he left all that.
But I small thing that woman had there, that small girl.
No. And the thing they want to be Fendi wear, because every time I saw a picture of that girl, she had on some kind of fake Fendi outfit, right? He left the fake Fendi outfit to go for that anti-gravity iron titty. So I
which one is anti-gravity?
If for now, gravity la meeting for and standing up. I have to explain it for you until you know. But my boss Stephen, so he said Stephen got a real wife.
So they interviewed him yesterday, and Stephen said he's married. He has a wife. He's been separated with his wife for 6 years. So that's 6 years he's been separated from her. It's the 6th year he's been dating Vivian. Okay. And in that 6th year, he and Vivian had 2 children. Why separated from wife, but he's not divorced.
Okay.
So somebody posted a day that they asked his first wife to interview her. She said no. She's just enjoying what's going on. So she's happy that what is going on now is going because Vivian tastes what she did to her.
Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah.
So that's it.
And the wife smart because when it happens, she's not
talking anything. She's just watching it because of what Vivian did to her. So then all of a sudden the day we see, I'm seeing posting Liberian people now they jump and say, "Oh, but then Vivian, you're wrong. You say you're a side chick, then you beating another side chick." Liberian people
that jump on my waist on John Rest.
But on a serious note, I hope that Vivian finds Naomi gets some medical attention.
All of them need to go sit down on Goumah chair.
Yes. Goumah really needs to help her. I think that's true. I will connect Goumah with her to be able to help her. And sadly, they interview Naomi and her parents. But I just hope that she's okay because that's small beating I get. It's traumatizing when you see it. It wasn't small.
Is it traumatizing because she was physically assaulted or mentally because she was embarrassed? Because there are 2 different types of trauma.
Physically assaulted.
So the boss of Dubai way.
You talking? The woman had even scissors in her pocket. The girl had to hold the scissors from her. You think that was small beating the girl? That woman, a wicked woman. She had sisters. The girl had to hold the sisters from her. And then she grabbed, I don't know why, the pot or the pen on her head. That's what she was doing. It's not a small, it's not,
I hope not one of those iron pen don't have it once. So
that's not a small round aluminum pot she was knocking on her head. That small pity she beat that girl.
But why she tell all that frustration and beat Steven? That one I wonder. That Steven needed ass whooping.
And then Steven talking about, oh, no loyalty. I tell her, say that I will not fall in love with anybody. Yeah, Steven said full of nonsense.
But I saw Steven look like he, let me stop. Now the thing when they're fighting for him is really high moral. In Liberia, that bomb
on a serious note, I think when I watched and I connected with them, I watched the show, the interview with Oprah Kwame Wiggs. It just looked like there is something already wrong with her face because she was just slow to speak. I hope she doesn't have anything. I'm not going to diagnose her, but it's like I think she's gonna have some lasting injuries from the beating that she got, and it was just really, 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 really hard. And my heart goes out to her, to her family, but also to Vivian. I hope she learns from this experience because when they interviewed Vivian, Vivian was boasting. She said, "You know how many people are not fight? You know how many people are not fight?
Yeah.
You know how many people are not beat? The last person I beat I left my on, and they left my on me. That's what I'm talking."
But Vivian ain't easy. Okay, so. If I ever need somebody else swap in Liberia, I call it Vivian.
Hey, see, Christina. Look, my people.
I got job for Vivian. Y'all know I have plenty how to call me, man.
Anyway, we had a good show today. So that's what's trending in Liberia. That's the news that's trending all over. Everybody's talking about it. The other thing that's been trending, and we still need to find time to talk about it and talk about how the different talk shows we get on, how we use them to degrade people, to defame people's character, and other things. We have to be able to address that. This is rampant in our Liberian community. So we have to get there to talk about it. I'm not an expert. We're not experts in what we do here, but we just know that some things are just not right in society. And we can no longer stand back and just watch people continue to do those things. And especially Liberian women, it's so prominent out there that we need to speak against it. But I want to while I will eat something at dry rest and I will just go on to talk about it, clear my head and my heart for it. But anyway, anything Agatha, next week we have an orthopedic surgeon from Liberia. He will be our guest. Next, we will be talking. He works at JFK. He will be here, young doctor, Dr. Laoba Bosi. He's an orthopedic surgeon. He works at JFK. He will be here coming to talk to us about the work, a young man, probably studying here or studying there and remaining in Liberia to work, some of the challenges they have. He was when I reach out to, I like when I reach out to prominent people or people like Carmen. When I reach out to her, she said, "Sure, there will be other people you reach out to. They will give you all kind of corner.
Let be so.
All kind of corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the fact that I reached out to this medical doctor in Liberia is something like Dr. What her name we had on here? Benetta Collins. It was so easy to reach to her to be able to come. My people, when we come into you and asking you to talk, we want nothing. We just want to appreciate you for the work that you're doing in your area. We may not know a lot of people to connect, but all we want to do is to be able to, so Liberians will hear you, hear the work you're doing, and we appreciate you. So when y'all see my text message, y'all don't read it and ignore me, man. What joy is this? I'm not going through no manager. I want to talk to you. We want to talk to you.
You know what funny you said? I want a little girl named Keisha, the girl that does the thing.
Oh.
She sent me to her manager.
Yes.
And the manager didn't even have
Keisha Comedy. Yes. I've reached out to her a couple of times too.
The respect to respond. But you know, here's the thing. Some of those same people, not Keisha, but others that I've reached out to, and they didn't respond. at a later date, maybe they hear I got some connection or something. Seeing people that can call me. But I tell you, I'm a heathen. Go ain't feeling with me yet. I don't keep trust that way.
Okay, folks. So next week, please come here. If you have questions about JFK, if you have no politics, if you have questions about the work he's doing in JFK, you want to know about somebody breaking their foot, how they're able to have successful surgery, how they're able to
With no
heal.
LEC or
Yeah,
medicine,
and
just
all those
let's talk
things.
about it.
Want to do, come and let's talk about it next week. He's looking forward to talking. Once I reached out to him, it was so easy for him to say yes, and I
Nice.
introduced myself and what we were doing.
Nice.
One of the things that I think made him to agree, I sent him the video with Dr. Collins, and he was like, "Oh, sure, I'll come on." So
Nice.
it's like it was just, I like that when we do that. This is what we're doing. We're trying to showcase Liberia, the good
What's
things
good
that we
about
do.
Liberia?
Yes. So if you're out there, you want us, no, we will not be bringing Vivian on here. But what we
I think we need to bring both Vivian and Naomi and Steven. You know what this remind me about? Was it the Papa Garment Soko or the song Bala Wala Bisa? But they say Gonda. Who owns Steven?
Yes.
I'm gonna work on that for y'all. I'm gonna try and get all of them.
I cannot end this show. We're all encouraging you to go out this weekend. Cathedral High School Alumni Association.
Full of crap.
I'm from there. Agatha is from there. That's our alma mater this weekend in Philadelphia. You might see me there, huh?
I can assure you, you will not see me there.
If you live in Philadelphia, come out and support. This year is elections year. I am voting for Hawa Mansoray. I wish her all the best, and we need a new trajectory in that whole Cathedral Alumni Association. New quota officers to be able to come back and galvanize our strength together. I'm putting it out there.
Are you done?
Vote for Hawa on Saturday. I will be voting for Hawa if you're in Philadelphia. Cathedral High School Alumni Association. Come out, let's support everybody. Thank you for watching. We'll see you
next week.
Next week, Thursday. See you. And Eva, we miss you today, Eva. As for Michael, he has become an audience. A guest. Bye, everybody.
Bye.